Hello, everyone, and welcome to SCORE Fairfield County's live webinar on how to build a website with Canva. I'm Bob Hogan, the webinar coordinator today and the business mentor here at SCORE Fairfield County. I'm going to be your host, and our presenter is Bud Freund. More on Bud in just a minute, but first some brief information on SCORE. SCORE is a nonprofit national partner of the SBA with over 10,000 volunteers nationally, and locally here at SCORE Fairfield County, we have over 100 volunteers with a wide range of industry, process, and subject matter expertise. And we offer three primary value-added services to small business owners. First of all, we offer free one-on-one counseling, and you can access that in person, by video, telephone, email, whatever works best for you. And you can do that by just clicking on the Request a Mentor link on our website, or just clicking on the yellow bit.ly link that you see there on the screen. Secondly, we offer educational workshops and webinars like the one today. And lastly, we offer extensive resources on our website, including business tools and information. Our next live webinar will be tomorrow, July the 9th at noon, when Harvey Hoffman will be presenting Introduction to Patents and Intellectual Property. Look for the specifics on our website, www.fairfieldcounty.score.org. And we also have a large number of recorded websites or webinars on our website if you're on there, and you can view those by clicking on the on-demand webinars at any time. Just some logistics about today's event. We have set aside time for Q&A at the end of the presentation. If you have a question, please use the Q&A button at any time during the webinar. It's generally located on the lower part of your screen. Our webinar will end promptly at 1 o'clock to respect your time today. The session is being recorded, and a link to the recording will be available on our website within the next day or so. It's now my pleasure to introduce our speaker today, Bud Freund. Bud Freund has been self-employed for over 40 years. After graduating from Ithaca College, his national and international assignments were from corporate, magazine, and public relations clients. He has been providing IT solutions to homes and small businesses for over 20 years. He currently teaches technology life skills at King's School. As a certified SCORE mentor, he regularly presents technology webinars and workshops throughout Fairfield County. Bud, it's all yours.
Thank you, Bob. Thank you all for joining us. Hopefully you can see here the things that we're going to be talking about. I'm really excited to be able to show you what Canva can do in the way of building a website. I regularly refer to it as the Swiss Army knife of digital communications. And before we dive too deeply into the building of web, I want to go to the Canva homepage just to give you an idea. Bob did tell me you're able to see this, of some of the stuff that you can build in Canva and some of the things that you can do. We're going to be living in this website area here in a few minutes, but understand that you can build a video. You can do it from still images or from uploading files. We'll talk about uploading in a few moments. It works as a design for print. You can specify sizes. Some of these images you see here print out at exactly 13 by 19 inches onto a sheet of paper. I recommend a very high, a rather heavy paper. It's called Burgo, B-U-R-G-O. 13 by 19 Burgo. I've got a local vendor that it's less than $3 to get a two-sided 13 by 19 piece of paper. Now, talking about social media, you can use Canva to build to one item, and then you can click on it to resize to another item. But for today, we're going to be talking about how you can use Canva to build a website. And there's a couple of very important aspects that you'll want to consider for whatever the work is that you're doing. Understand, first of all, this difference between sections and pages. So if you look along the bottom here, there's 4 small icons, which I can either hide to make things larger or turn back on to make smaller and be able to get into different pages of the website that I am building. Now, what's important to understand about pages versus sections is that if you build by section, and that's this first slide here, as you go from one screen to the next, you can scroll down far more easily on a mobile device. It has been my experience that you don't always see the page numbers that would show on a computer when you go to build the website. So if you're looking to get traction, I would recommend building in sections as opposed to pages because people will be able to scroll downward. One of the things we're going to be talking about is this making of a gradient background. The reason that I suggest it is because if you are on a perpetual doom scroll of either white or black, your eye doesn't know exactly where your pages break, whether by the build that you are doing or by the viewer trying to figure out where you're differentiating your information. So the building of the website in Canva as sections with gradients becomes really a visually easier thing to digest. So we'll talk about backgrounds here. And when you open up the background color icon, you can get over to the items that are showing here. And with a couple of futzes here and there, you'll get various choices of, as you can see, moving that gradient from place to place. It can go top down, bottom up, and you can do a circular gradient as well to change whether the hot spot is in the center or the dark spot is in the center. You literally grab the circle, drag it over, and they switch places. You can then tell the entire website to retain the same gradient. So now all of the pages would be in a circular gradient. What if you don't want the, we'll get to Vivicon, I promise. What if you don't want a circular gradient? I find that for some of the images that I use, the circular gradient doesn't work as well as the top to bottom gradient, and I prefer my light on top. There we go. Oh, sorry. Nope, we're going to, yeah, light on top and dark on the bottom. And we're going to change all of them. And as we scroll into this middle one here where there's nothing going on other than a blank page, you'll see that it's a gradient from light at the top to dark at the bottom. So what else? Let's start from a very, very basic place, which is you may be in the same spot. We're going to talk about this gradient brand template in a moment. But if you started with just a blank website, nothing there, nothing to do, it's white, there are more templates to choose from than you'll know what to do with. It is really easy to get lost in the weeds. So my suggestion is look at them, see if they inspire something, and then make your changes from there. I generally like to start at 0. So I do one left click inside. Now I've got to choose a background color. I'm going to go into the color choices. I'm going to go down to gradient. And this had me crazy for close to a month trying to figure this out. So take a note on this, folks. When you choose a gradient, it's going to be dark on one side, light on the other. And for the life of me, I couldn't figure out how to get that to change to the light on top, dark on the bottom. It's this simple, but I needed perplexity to find that out. We'll talk about a little more of perplexity in a moment, but side to side, close the colors, highlight the section, open your background color again, and now the gradient will be one of your document color choices. Click it twice. change the gradient to what you would like. Well, where is mine? There we are. Okay, but I don't want light at the bottom. I want dark at the bottom. So again, it's grab the circle, left click, drag over, have them switch position, and now you have got this thing. Now, it's a web page ready to rock and roll. However, one of the things that is really useful about Canva is that it would like you to be able to work fairly quickly. So I'm going to do one other thing here, which is I'm going to name this as my, where'd I go? There we are. So we have a name for it. It is very important in Canva to name things. You'll see in a few moments, it is really easy to get lost in all of the stuff. So now I've got this web page and I want to use it all of the time. And I don't want to use it with this thing in the middle here. So I'm going to hit the delete button. And now I've just got a blank page. I don't really want this blank page to be black to gray. I've got a lot of those. So I'm going to change one of my colors. And I'm going to change my dark to a deep blue. And we'll close that. And now I want to, excuse me, I got to keep moving tabs around. And I am going to, I went to share up here in the top right corner. And now what I'm going to do, rather than building a website from here, I've laid foundation for other websites I'm going to build. So I'm going to click on brand template. And I'm going to publish it as a brand template. I'm not sharing this one. This is mine. We're going to close it up. And now when you go into brand, and a lot of this, believe it or not, is opening and closing things. Unfortunately, you've just launched. Okay. So your template should be showing up in here. We're going to close out. Let's go back to Canva, and here we are. Nice. All right. Sorry, folks, I have a, okay. We would click use this brand template, and now I can start on building a web page. So we'll start building from here since we got that. What are we going to put in? We're going to put in some images. It's hard to believe, but I actually learned a few things on Instagram recently, and I did some screenshots. Be very careful. If you click on those three dots, you get one set of information. If you click on the image, it shows up on the screen. We're going to add another section. We're going to go back into uploads. We're going to add a few of these motivational, let's call these motivational items. I like that one. So I'm going to go back up to the top. I want to add some text in here so we understand what we're doing. Little dark. 3 clicks, highlights all of them. Go to your text color, add white, close, click. So I've got my motivational items here. Now I'm going to add in some, where'd they go? Here we are. Some demotivational items. I've been collecting these for a very long time. See, when you hit, I'll do this one deliberately now. When you hit the checkbox, you are going to either be deleting or moving that file somewhere else, which is not what we want to do. Now, I built all of that because I wanted to talk to you about one of the other items that you can add into your web page, which is a survey. So this is from a company called Vivicon. And what you'll do to take a survey on whether you like the motivational or the demotivational slides is that you would scan the QR code. We'll talk about QR codes in a moment. And from the QR code, Vivicon is going to want you to create an account. Yes, you are giving them information. You would be putting in your username, creating a password, but then you would be able to cast your vote as to whether you wanted the motivational or demotivational slides, and then you can take your poll. So that's one of the add-ons that you're able to do into Canva. Another one, as long as we're here, is something that I use very regularly for chapter meetings. It's called Embed. So I had created this question for Perplexity, another AI. Mine of preference, if you're following the news, there's a high possibility that Apple Computer may be purchasing them. The reason I like them and my wife likes them very much is because not only do they provide you with an answer, but they also provide you with the citation of where they got the information. Despite that, they still have a lawsuit pending with the New York Post, which is a Rupert Murdoch publication. In any event, once you get the website that you want to go to, you can copy it. Let's see here. We're going to edit that right here just so you can see. So you would paste in whatever the link is that you want, tell it whether you want it to be embedded or if you want it to just show as a link. In this case, I'm showing it as an image. And from there, if you double click, nothing's going to happen, which is what they tell you is supposed to be. With a right mouse click, we're going to open the link in a new tab. And in that new tab, which I had open over here as well, but this is the one that popped open, wanted to just address this Canva websites doing commerce, because the notion that you could use Canva to create an e-commerce website isn't exactly a great idea. Canva can do e-commerce, but it's going to only do single item purchases. There wouldn't be a shopping cart or any particular payment system. So Canva as a place to build an e-com site, I do not recommend it. Canva as a place to build an information website, I think it's absolutely fabulous. It will allow you to create 10 pages. Let's go back now that we've talked about Canva as a web page. So we go back into Canva here, and so as I'd mentioned, we were talking about sections and pages. If you are going in pages, it may not show as well on a mobile device, whereas if you create sections, and by the way, we'll go into this section area here, and we'll add in a couple of pictures here. Another item that I like very much about Canva and what it allows you to do to highlight an image is that you can put what's called a stroke around an image. I generally raise it up to about 8 because otherwise it's a little too thin and you won't see it. Then next to it will be the color choice, in this case to separate out either white or, I don't know, let's take a look at a green. You can, no, okay, we'll stay here. Do the same thing on the other image. Same green. Add in some text. Oh, sorry. Black and black isn't going to show. Let's run right up here to our color picker. And let's use the same green. Close our toolbox there. And now you would be able to scroll down, or if you wanted to add another section, click on the little plus here. I want to move it up. I want it to be on top of where this one is. We'll go in here. Oop, got to watch the clicks. If you get into the box, it's not going to go where you want. And again, all right. And so you can build your sections, not pages, your sections, and you can have up to 10 sections. And as I mentioned previously, consider sections over pages because of the quantity of people who are looking at websites on their phones as opposed to computers, and they will have a far easier experience. So now you've built this thing and you've got something that you're ready to publish. So what do we do? Well, over here is the publish website. And it's going to give me this really long URL. We're going to talk about that in just a few minutes. But before you dive in too deeply, or if you wanted to try and change it, there are aspects of it that you can change. There are other aspects that you cannot. The front end is carved in stone. I started to build this for family about a year ago when we were planning a trip and having some aggravations in the process. And subsequent to the first website I built in Canva, everything else acquires that URL. So bear that in mind, or you can purchase a different domain. If you're looking to let Canva carry the brunt of the cost, you may not need a new domain. We're going to talk about ways to get around that in just a moment. But you would go into settings. You can put in a password if you don't want other people to know about it. You can create this website so that search engines can find it. Again, it's a choice of what you want or don't want. Now, they claim a navigation menu, and frankly, on my phone, I haven't seen it. So it's kind of not exactly there. One other sidebar while I'm thinking about it. This is in the build mode of Canva. And the Canva presentations I do are always in build mode because way back when I started to do a Canva presentation a la PowerPoint, and somewhere in the middle of getting from one slide to another, the whole thing sort of crashed and burned, and I have stayed out of presentation mode for Canva in Zoom ever since. And be nice to know you, but I think I'd rather run through this thing from beginning to end. In any event, we're going to click to publish this and watch how quickly this thing goes. Now, I'd already built it to test it, so now it's doing a republish. And we'll talk about that in just a moment, because what happens in republish, lovely little graphic there. I'm going to click copy on this very long URL, and we'll get to it in just a few moments. But we close that window, and now the website that I have been working on is essentially cast in stone. In other words, if I do any edit, whatever I do may not show up on the World Wide Web unless I republish the website. So I've got this great big long URL, and Bob had mentioned earlier on our screen here that there's this thing called a bit.ly. Now, the wonderful thing about a bit.ly is that it takes these big long URLs and it makes them a really nice, small, little compact thing that you can send to other people. That's the good news. The bad news about bit.lys is that you can't always tell where they're going to take you. So if you're getting it from what you would consider a respected source, like a score, bit.lys are reliable. If they just land in your inbox from somebody you don't know, proceed with great caution on that, really. Anyway, I've copied that big long URL, and you can probably see it up here as this big long URL. I'm going to go over to a website that I use called bit.ly. You can have a free account. You can create your own set of links. And as you can see, some of the previous ones are fairly long. And what does it allow you to do? Well, I'm going to create a new bit.ly. And the same cautionary advice holds true for QR codes as bit.lys. I don't know a human being who can figure out where a QR code is going to take them. So we're going to create a shorter link, right mouse click, paste as plain text. Now you've got whatever is the place it needs to go to. And if you hit enter, it will give you a random back end. If you want to have something a little bit more understandable, you can type in what you want and see if anybody else has staked that claim. And by the way, there is a difference between uppercase and lowercase. You could have score web PG all in lowercase and it would take you to a different place. So proceed cautiously with that. In any event, it has decided it likes that, so nobody else in the world has it. So you could copy that link and now you could email it to somebody in something smaller or be able to say it a whole lot easier. Or here's the third place that you might want to consider going to use these, either the long URL or the shortened bit.ly URL. And it's a website called Linktree. Mentioned we were going to talk about that. Let's go back to here. We're going to go back to here. That's this guy right here. So, what is Linktree? Again, you can create your own account. It's free. It will allow you to put a header image, a title, a tagline. If you want social media connections, you're able to do that as well. And then you can create hot links with icons to wherever you would like to have people go. So it can be a central point. A number of years ago, I used to work with somebody who was in marketing who called it a perfect storm. While you want to have this presence in a variety of different medias, pick a single place where you'd like everything to key off, whether it's a Facebook page or, for me, it's Linktree. There are people who have websites, and then from the website, you can see their social media. But all of those places for Linktree can be consolidated into a single location. So the good news about Linktree is that it will take, let's close this, it will take this long URL, which nobody's going to see because what they're going to have will be just a set of links. And on the admin side, I'm going to stay out of that for today. But if you go to, let's change this briefly. From Linktree, free sign up, and you can build this thing the same way I do. So another place to consider how you get your message out. Now, I'm going to go back to here, and let's do one other. Going to go back to my Linktree. Okay, so I'm going to take my Linktree hot link. I'm going to go back into one of my test web pages here. And I'm going to go down into the apps. We'll talk about Magic Media in just a moment. We'll go into the apps. Apps, thank you. Search Canva apps. I've used this before. I think I mentioned it earlier. It's an app called Embed. And from Embed, I'm going to paste my Linktree link. Does a little bit of thinking. And it adds my web page into another web page or another place. Now, I want to go back here and talk about a few other things that are really useful to be able to add. Can't do anything because it says to edit the design, you've got to click on it so you can make changes. So I've got a text box down here. And as you can see, I've got a telephone number in green. This is part of the secret formula. So let me show you the secret formula, and we're going to do it for email. So left click, highlight the email address. And then I'm going to do a right click. Oh, come on. Oh, I'm sorry. Bear with me, folks. Things don't always work the same. And there we are. Sorry about that. 3 dots, link. And there is a key command for that if you would like. And what we're going to put in here so that the email becomes hot is a really simple command. I'm going to hit the space bar because otherwise all of my text starts to glom together. And now I'm going to paste in the whoop, that's not what I wanted. I wanted my email address. So we're going to mail to. And if you notice, now my email is hot. And that % with a 20 is computer speak for put a space in there so that it doesn't all hold together. Because I actually have 2 links in here. I've got my link for my mail, and I've got my link for my telephone. And for telephone, as you can see, it's TEL:, and just hit the space bar. The %20 will fill in by itself. So now I've got this text block, and I want to put it everywhere. So I've highlighted it, which you can see by the little white dot in the corner there. And I'm going to hit Control-C for copy. I'm going to go back over to my first page. And I'm going to highlight one of the pages. And you can see that it's highlighted because there is the purple box around it. And hopefully, if the great computer gods are with us, this will paste into the same place it was before. Go to the next page, one left click so that you're highlighting that section, Control-V paste, you add them in. Go down to the last one, you can do the same thing. And now, we'll take this perplexity and move it up a little bit. By the way, I don't know if you're watching the guides, but they're really very helpful. I'm dead center of the slide now, or the section. I'm centered, but I'm along what basically can be thought of as screen safe. In early days of television, and still probably today, it's been a while since I've done work in TV, there's a you get your full screen, all of the black. Then you get what's called action safe, which is an area that's a little smaller in from edge to edge. And then you've got title space, which is even a smaller area than that, to make sure that the information you want going out there is actually getting done. In any event, we get our page highlighted, paste it in, and notice, by the way, that the hot links are traveling to all of the places as well. So from here, having done changes, I would now republish. The URL isn't going to change. The information that you've put onto the website has been updated, and it'll be the same spot. It would just have different information. And again, you would now have to go back into editing mode in order to make changes, and then you would have to republish them. Probably enough information unless there are some questions. Bob, is there anything that anybody would like specifically?
There are lots of questions, so if you want to take a few questions now,
Fire away.
and then people, just a reminder, if you want to ask a question, please just put it in the Q&A box, and we'll take as many as we can up until the top of the hour. Um, our first one, Bud, is from John. It was right at the beginning when you were talking at the beginning, and he's asking, what if you want a different background on different sections?
Well, if you want a different background on different sections, let's take our Adobe One Kenobi fellow here. And instead of that background, I just want a different background on that Adobe page. I don't hit change all, otherwise they're all going to go. However, if you do hit change all by accident and go, oh, that was a really bad move, and now everything is that cream color that you don't want, the undo arrow right up here moves you back, moves you back. Another point of value for Canva. There are actually two flavors of Canva. There is the free version of Canva, which will not allow you to have brands. And then there is the paid version of Canva, which is $160 a year, which also gives you an enormous number of elements and things that you can add into whatever design you're working on. And just as a, sorry, there we go. We'll add in a shape here. You can put in text and make it larger. You can raise the size of your font. Pick your color. And if you don't want it, delete it. What else?
Okay, the next one is from Mohan. He's asking, which company should you use to host the website, or maybe the most inexpensive one?
Well, that's the really wonderful part. The website is currently being hosted by Canva. You don't have to pay for it to go anywhere else. Canva is hosting your website. That's how much real estate in the sky they've got. The company, just for a little background, started in 2013. It's Australian-based. Man and a woman started the company. Believe it or not, they started as a company making high school yearbooks. And they expanded it out of the, we're going to create a high school yearbook, into the global monster Canva that they are now. So they're hosting this, which is why the URL has my Canva site in here. It's living in Canva land. And you can re-edit it, and you don't have to buy more space to put it anywhere else. Another wonderful aspect of Canva as the builder of your website,
So
as
just
long as
to,
it's not
so,
fancy.
but just to clarify, if you're using the free version of Canva, then you don't have to pay for hosting at all.
I would check that. They
Okay,
may want you to have a premium to be able to host.
okay.
The option to build, I'm pretty sure they'll let you build it, but at the point that you want them to house it, they may want you to pay for something.
Okay.
Thank
All
you,
right.
Bob.
Our next one is from Michelle. Is there an online tutorial session in Canva to navigate through building the website?
Not fabulously well. Canva will claim that they've got information for everything. And among the everythings that they've got, by the way, is Magic Media, which would allow you to uh, have an AI bot build an image for you. And it's pretty good. It's not the best I've ever used, but I ask it strange questions and it comes up with some somewhat strange images. Run the question again, Bob. I just want to make sure I
No,
answer.
Michelle's just asking, is there an online tutorial session in
Oh,
Canva to navigate through building a website?
I'd look to YouTube or I would look to Perplexity for the tutorials. Um, I think you'll find them to be better at that end than within Canva itself. That's been my experience.
Okay, great advice. And Michelle had a follow-up question, which I think you've answered in the previous one. Can you create a website on Canva for free? And if not, how much is it to create? And I think your response was you can create it, but when you want to host it, you may have to pay.
That would be a safe bet to say. I would be very surprised if Canva, as generous as they are in templates and storage and such, I'm not sure they're going to let you house your website for free. That may be their stopping point.
And just along those lines, Paula had a related question. Is the version she's asking, is this the free version that you are using today to demo?
No, I have paid for Canva, and at 160 a year, it is without question the best media creation tool that I'm aware of. And I've had people let me know that there are others to choose from. Yes, that's true. Just like there are other photo editing tools, but I learned Photoshop in version 2. They're up to version 26. And to me, it's getting the work done and not reinventing the wheel to learn how to get the work done.
Okay. Our next one is from Charlotte. Can I send the Canva website to my company's domain and host it on Wix? Or I host it on Wix?
Well, you could probably export all of the pieces. Let's take a look at what the choices are. If you were to, as a website, it's going to be live online. If you go into download, what they're going to be giving you are a bunch of choices here, just moving a few other tabs around, where it will retain the structure, but you're not going to retain the hot links or any of the functionality. In other words, you could export each one of these pages as a PDF or a PNG. Those could then be uploaded to your company website, or they can be linked back to here as whatever Canva URL pointer from wherever you want, obviously.
Okay, very helpful. Next one is from Aurea. I had an issue and I'm just able to join now. Is it being recorded? Will the participants get a link? The answer is yes, Aurea. It is being recorded and you will get a link. Okay, here's a couple from John. Is there an optimal size for images?
Oh, imaging online is a really good question. Um, the smaller, the better. And depending upon what software you are using to edit an image, um, my suggestion goes as follows. Rather than doing this, which means that you've taken the bulk, let's you've taken, let me start over. An image has a file size, whatever this may be. Let's say arbitrarily it's 250K, all right, kilobytes, as opposed to a 1 megabyte file or a 500 megabyte file. We've got a 250K image here. If you do this to the image, it's still 250K. You're still carrying the weight of the smaller image. So, in the efficiency of building websites, in my opinion, if you want something this large, build it to this size. If you want something this large, build it to that size. What happens when you take a small image and try to stretch it is kind of like pizza dough, where if you stretch the dough too far, the sauce is going to fall through the holes. So you don't want to stretch the image too far that it starts to pixelate. So keep everything the size that it was. Or if you want something larger, always start big and work your way down. Don't start small and work your way up. And by the way, somewhere in our YouTube Fairfield County Score archive, there will be a webinar on digital imaging, which will probably have a more comprehensive answer because it was focused specifically on that.
Okay. And a related question from John. How do you link audio and video assets?
Well, you can either upload them or and then literally just come on. Oh, let's try this guy. There we go. Drop them in. That simple. Or if they're living somewhere else, then you would want to go back to that embed app, which would allow you to embed the other URL into your web page.
Okay. Awesome. Here's one related to one that we just talked. So maybe just for clarification, Yuchi is asking, what if I've already bought a domain, Singwix? How do I use Canva to build my website and then use the domain that I want with it?
Well, if you're building a website that's basically informational, give me a moment just to. I have a page layout. Text here too, Acrobat Reader. That's what I want my web page to look like. From there, you would be going to share. My recommendation would be to download the page in a specific size or as a PDF. Or if you use SVG, those little crowns, by the way, indicate that you got to pay for it in order for it to be a feature. But you can export in a variety of file formats, which would then be uploadable to wherever else you've got online real estate, so to speak. And think of your web page as just really having online real estate.
Okay. And again, while we're kind of on this topic, another one coming in is, can I use a URL that I already own?
Probably so. And my guess is that when you're getting to here, oh, we hadn't published this one yet. There was a place in the original build where you could get a URL and you could apply it. Sorry, I'm not finding it here. it may have, you may have to do that on an initial buy. So give me just a moment here. We're going to start from, I don't want that as the, so I would go into Canva to build a website originally. At the point that you're going to publish the website initially, I could have sworn, didn't I? Hey, Bob, didn't I see before where it said you could buy a domain?
I didn't catch it if it did.
Okay. Um, there is an option to buy a domain. Um, Canva as a place to design. If you've already got a place where your online presence lives, what you build in Canva, I would recommend to do as an export into whatever format you choose to, and then upload it to wherever else you would like it to go.
Okay. All right, we've got quite a few more here, so I'd like to see if we can
Sure.
move on. Here's one from Ginny. If Canva registers your domain name, who actually owns the URL? Who's the registrant? And is it possible to transfer the website to another provider?
Uh, Canva is building you a place that you can access, or people can access your information. As long as it's living under the canva.com, my suspicion is that while you may own your content, Canva is the place where it lives. And I know I saw something about getting a domain. So there is an option through Canva to purchase domain names so that you can have a unique one to call your own. But I would recommend either a Perplexity or a Google search on that, because I saw it, I mentioned it, and when I tried to recreate it, in real time live right now, didn't seem to want to play the way I was expecting.
Here's one from Daphne on payments. She said, I think you said it can Canva websites can take a single payment, but it's not for major e-commerce site. Can you maybe just go over how you do a single payment?
It's right there. And if she wants to send me an email, I'll send her a link to this Perplexity return.
Okay.
That's the easiest way to do it.
Okay. Um, one for Charlie. Can you repeat the location of the imaging YouTube or webinar that you referenced? I think
Oh,
it's in the archives.
uh, it will probably be, well, it would be on YouTube. It would be the Fairfield County Score channel. And if not as a search through there, send me a link. I can track it down in the volumes of stuff. We can get it to you.
Yeah. Okay. Let me just scroll through see if there's any more. Actually, when you were demoing, Natasha asked the question, will the pages created be able to resize to mobile device size when you were talking about sizes there?
Yes, they do.
Okay.
And that's where we go into that sections and pages where, bear with me for one moment here. We'll open this fella up just so I can do a talking example. When you look at this on a computer screen, the images are side to side. When you look at this on a mobile device, the images are above and below, text is in between, and the all rights reserved is broken over two lines. But yes, I find that Canva's translation to mobile devices is rather good.
Um, let me see. I think we're have no more questions, and we are at the top of the hour. So I
There you
think
go.
we're gonna call it there, and because we're out of time, just as a reminder to everyone, and we've had a couple of questions in the Q&A. The webinar has been recorded and will be available within the next day or so under recorded webinars and on our website. And the next live webinar will be tomorrow, July 9th at noon, when Harvey Hoffman will be presenting Introduction to Patents and Intellectual Property. Gain more specifics on our website, www.fairfieldcounty.score.org. And again, if you want to take advantage of the free individual counseling, you can use the link that Bud showed earlier, or you can just go to our website and click on the Request a Mentor button. We'd really appreciate it if you could fill out your evaluations. They're very important to us. And on behalf of SCORE, I'd like to thank everyone for attending our live webinar today. And in closing, a special thank you to Bud for presenting today. So thanks a lot,
Thanks for
Bud, and
listening, folks.
enjoy the rest of your day, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you for listening. Take care.